podcast. It's Tuesday. It's our live stream. What's going on out there? Hey, Neil.
Hey, Denise. How you doing? Welcome back from your vacation. Good
yes,
to see you.
I'm back. I'm back. And and like sort of raring to go or wishing I was still on vacation right now.
Right. Nobody, everybody needs a vacation from their vacation. Right?
Yes.
Like, you get back and you're saying, man, I need a vacation from that vacation.
Well, you know what? This was a relaxing vacation, mainly because, like, the things to do in Skinny Atlas is sightsee, go down by the lake, and there's some nice little places to eat and lots of places to shop. One of the places I like to go is there is a really great thrift shop in the in local church at St. James Church. Uh, just for people who happen to go up there and check this place out. It's open like 5 days a week, which is unusual. A lot of church thrift shops tend to be open just a couple of days a week. They're open like 5 days a week, and they get a lot of donations from the local Talbot's store. So you get like brand new items in there for like pennies on the dollar. And so, you go in there. I found a few nice items. I found a denim jacket from Talbot's. I got some brand new tops, and it was great. So, if you like the Finger Lakes, Skinny Atlas is a little more upscale neighborhood, but it's definitely one of the nicest. It's considered one of the cleanest lakes, definitely in New York, but possibly in North America. It's just super, super clean, and it's a beautiful area. So I highly recommend you all go. All right.
And they don't have the rabid beavers up there, so you're
No
all good.
rabbit. I know Neil has this thing with rabid beavers. I have no idea.
Lake George has rabid beavers. Like there's a
No,
whole
I was way west of that.
having rabid beavers.
Lake George is north of Albany. We were like southwest of Syracuse. So little different area, but definitely one of the nicest. So first of all, let's see if we've got some people joining. Actually, I can't even.
We do. If any, please make sure you introduce yourselves. Let us know who's here, who's watching. And feel free to ask any questions at any time. We'll try to get to them if we can. Obviously we love the interaction with the public, so please feel free to engage with us, and remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell so that you know when we're live and when we've posted something new.
Yes, definitely. There we go. All right. So lots of things going on. I mean, when you're gone for a few days, you're not really following on the news because you want to stay on vacation. But so many things. Did Neil freeze up? Oh, Neil is.
I'm here.
Am I lagging or is Neil? No, you're lagging. Yeah, Neil. Okay. Yeah, Neil is lagging a bit. Wow. That's a new one. It's usually me.
It's weird. It doesn't, like I'm not seeing myself lag, but looking at the monitor here, like on YouTube, I'm definitely seeing I'm lagging.
All right. Well, I'll just sometimes these things work out. Hopefully, if not, just reboot. Oh wow, may have lost him. Yep,
no, did you lose me? I'm here.
No. Okay, you're not moving on my end. That's why. All right. Well, if worse comes to worse, just go ahead and reboot, and we'll keep right on going.
You know what? If you want to keep going, I'll
keep going.
Jump out and I'll try to reboot.
All right. So Neil's gonna disappear and leave me alone. Oh no. Oops. Oh. Oh, isn't that weird? Hold on. I have a slight problem here. So I had my my headphones connected to both my phone and also for the computer at the same time, and the playback was playing in my ears. So sorry about that. So today is July 28th. Let's see, we've got a lot of stuff going on, but I think the big news lately is, where the hell is Mitch McConnell? I mean, more and more photographs, like, well, they released another photograph and nobody's buying it. Already it's been picked apart and seen as AI. In fact, I got some funny things to show you. Some of these AIs have been absolutely crazy. Let's see. Oh, there's one from Ed Krasenstein. Let me see if I can bring some of this up to entertain you, because Neil has some stuff he wants to talk about, and I'll let him deal with that. So let's go into here. Let me pull this up because we're looking for proof of life. Lots of proof of life. And I think we got proof of life over here. Hang on. Okay, let's bring this back to the beginning. Hey, Neil is back. Just in time for me to share my screen here. We're talking about where the hell is our buddy Mitch. All right. You see that? Let me just expand that. There you go. Look, here he is with his wife. Just look.
别担心，他没事。
Okay, so what happened there? He looks absolutely fine. Completely fine. Maybe a little stiff. He's a little stiff. Oh my God. I've got, no, I have to show you the best one. The best that, here's better. I've got better proof. I've got more proof. Let me see. This one, I think, is this the best one? Yeah. I think I got this one. This one is wonderful. You trust me. It's proof of life. He's really there. Let me get this. Is this the one? Let me see. Oh no, that was a different one. Oh no, I have to go back to, hang on, I'll show you. Back over here. Let's go back to, there we go. Oh, it's showing us, and we're on X. By the way, we're also on X right now if you like to watch from X. There we go. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Let me share my screen here, and oh boy. Okay. Here we go. Look, it's Spock. You can trust Spock, right?
It's fascinating, Captain. I'm getting nothing. In fact, I don't even think this person is real.
Oh, oh, come on. That was funny. All right, guys, let's get serious here. All right. So what do you think? What are your thoughts on this? Is he with us? I think they're still holding out.
Here's my problem with the whole thing. Okay. And I have this problem with every single elected official. Your job is to serve your constituents. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Every American has a certain amount of medical leave, family leave, you name it. Okay. Except these fucking politicians who get paid whether they show up or they don't show up. Right. They aren't subject to the same rules and laws that the rest of us are. Okay. So like it at this point, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the guys missed 2 months of work. This is the same thing about the Jersey Republican who missed like 6 months of work. Okay. You shouldn't be paid during that period of time, right? Like,
absolutely.
I mean, just as somebody working a job, if I wanted to miss an extended period of time, I would have to go on to family medical leave to secure my job. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, But what's happening with these guys? These guys get to do whatever the hell they want. It's absolutely ridiculous and insane.
And more so, well, Mitch McConnell doesn't want health care for us as regular Americans. They're getting top-notch health care right? Think about that. We're paying this bill for this hospital. If he is being just sort of kept going on life support, just so that that's the only proof of life we have. When he's technically brain dead, he's technically deceased, right? We're paying for that. That bill comes back to us. I mean, it's kind of a crime.
We would be paying that bill anyway. You don't seem to understand. He has lifetime as a senator, right? Even if he wasn't in office, he would still have lifetime health, single payer, government paid for healthcare. Okay.
Right.
People see, like, this is what I find is so disingenuous, right? Everybody argues, including these politicians, right? Including Republicans and Democrats on the Hill. They argue against government paid for healthcare. And yet, right, they fucking love their government paid for healthcare, right? They go out of their way to ensure that they get their government paid for healthcare for life, that they serve just enough years to get that for the rest of their life for them and their families.
Yes.
Okay. My question is, and every American should be asking their politician this: if it's good enough for you, why isn't it good enough for me? Why are
That's
you
a good
allowed
question.
to have it and I'm not allowed to have it? Why is nobody asking these questions? Right? Nobody asks a Republican when they go on TV, right, and to talk about healthcare, to say, you have government paid for healthcare. Do you not? The answer is yes, I do. Right? So why is it good enough for you and not for everybody else? It should be fairly simple, right? And if they say, well, you should be able to keep your insurance, your corporate insurance, right? Well, shouldn't people be given then the choice of saying, hey, do I want the Cadillac of insurances, which is government paid for insurance, or do I want to keep my shitty corporate insurance, right, where I can't go out of network, right, and it's costing me 20% of my salary?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it boggles my mind that people are telling you something is good enough for them but not good enough for anybody else, right? That tells me you're being dishonest, right?
Yes.
And if it were any one of us that spent a month in the hospital, right, you'd get a big fat fucking bill.
Nope.
Right? You'd get a big fat fucking bill, okay? And what's Mitch McConnell going to get?
Okay, somehow
Goose
I got
egg.
cut.
He's not going to get anything.
Hang
I
on.
can hear you, Denise.
For
What's
some
going on?
reason, my phone is interrupting my earphones. I have to disconnect it from here.
Okay, so it's not me.
Hey.
All right.
No, that's
all right. So, but this is what I'm talking about. It's this idea of why is healthcare good enough for these people, but not good enough for everybody else?
for every American.
Why do we keep getting talked out of this type of healthcare? And it becomes down to the lobbyists, the money, right? Follow the money, right? A patient cured is profit lost, period.
Yeah.
Right? Let me repeat that. A patient cured is a profit lost. End of story.
I've always said that we'll never have a cure for cancer as long as it's profitable to just keep treating. Just keep dragging out that treatment till you finally drop dead.
Right. And since we're on the realm of healthcare here, all right, there is something I want to bring up because I think it impacts a lot of people in town, especially since we have a very large senior community and we do have an emergency facility right near us.
Yes.
So recent changes in Medicare, right, are that if you go to a hospital, if you go to an emergency room, right, and you are a senior on Medicare, okay, now you have to remember, as a Medicare recipient, you have Medicare Part A and Medicare Part B. Okay. If you are admitted, that's Medicare Part A. Okay. If you are kept under observation, okay, Medicare Part A does not kick in. New changes will also indicate that Medicare Part B will not pick up the bill. So if you are just held under observation, okay, that means that the hospital can bill you directly. Okay.
Ooh.
So you may get to the hospital and say, well, I would prefer observation because it would be cheaper for my insurance company, or cheaper for Medicare, or it just may be cheaper because you may think that observation is less than admitting, okay, right? And that's a different standard of care, but it's the same standard of care, okay, or very similar, right? But here's the thing, you are going to get stuck with the bill if it's just observation instead of admitting.
Wow.
So if you are a senior and you are on Medicare and you end up in the hospital, do not let them put you under observation. Make sure that they admit you. Okay? Because getting put under observation means that you are going to get stuck with a fat bill, especially if you are under observation, right, for more than 24 hours.
Wow. And it gets worse. Gets worse because I just saw today that it's being reported by the Wall Street Journal and also on Reuters that the Trump administration to end Medicare premium subsidy programs. So this is the part. This is the to end Medicare premium subsidy program with regard to Part D. So that has to do with the prescription drug plans. So you were getting subsidized, and quite frankly, the cost of the premiums jumped last year. From last year to this year, it for my husband, it doubled his Part D. And so now they're gonna end all the subsidies altogether. So the premium's going to go up. They don't really say, this is from Reuters, says the Trump administration will end subsidy program meant to keep premiums stable for Medicare prescription drug plans after 2026. The agency said review of 2027 bids showed insurers have gained enough experience with Medicare Part D to accurately price their plans without support from the program. Doesn't say that accurate pricing means it's going to be lower or it's going to be stable or it could be higher. They just say they've accurately got it stable. You know, it's going up. That's the bottom line. It's going up.
It's a scam because of the fact that they want everybody to sign up for Trump's prescription drug plan. Okay, it's to try to get everybody to move over. Now, what is Trump's prescription drug plan? It basically takes non-generic drugs, okay, and sets a standardized price for them, okay, which is lower than what you might get through your insurance company. But you got to remember, these are non-generic. So that means that you are still paying a very high price for them. Okay. Right. It's still a very high price. Now, Medicare negotiating prescriptions, here's the problem with that. When Medicare negotiates prescriptions, as we all know, for those of us not on government health care, okay, remember that. For those of us not on government health care, okay, we all know about what's called a formulary plan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. With all the tiers.
Right. That when you have a prescription drug plan, that they set up a formulary plan. In other words, it's negotiated not only the rates, but it's negotiated what types of drugs, whether they be generic drugs or non-generic drugs, get into the formulary plan. So we've all been to the pharmacy, right, with our prescription drug, right, and said, no, I'm getting this drug. And they said, no, this is the generic form, or they want to give you the generic form because it's cheaper and you have to pay more because the generic form isn't on the formulary plan. So therefore you have to pay a higher price for the non-generic drug, We've all been through that. So what are we having with Medicare? Medicare is basically just giving up the idea of setting prices and setting a proper formulary plan. They're just letting
Yeah.
the insurance companies do whatever they're going to fucking do, and the pharmacies, right? And again, remember, this isn't like there's a lot of competition among pharmacies. There's 3 pharmaceutical companies out there, right? There's CVS, Caremark, and then there's like 2 others, right? No, there's no competition out there. These guys set the prices.
Right, right. I know. It's crazy. Hang on here. Trying to see. For some reason, I'm not able to see the public chat on here. Sometimes that happens. So I have to watch it on my phone. Yeah, no, Kristen said forcing people to join Trump's plan. And yeah, that's exactly what Neil just said before. Which, who knows what that's going to be about. But this is just, this is part of that Project 2025 plan to take away everything that your taxes paid for that supported the public. All of those benefits, take them all away. And now your taxes will pay for the military and tax cuts for the wealthiest people.
No,
that's really what it is.
You're just paying for corporate welfare and billionaire and money going to
Oh
billionaires.
yeah, corporate bailouts, corporate contracts, corporate bailouts.
It's just money going. It's the reverse Robin Hood. That's all you're paying for now is reverse Robin Hood. I mean, listen, the government ran out of freaking munitions because they don't want to pay their fucking bills because Trump is notorious for not paying fucking bills, right? Like, I mean, we've like, this story isn't hard to like understand what's going on. They are trying to find ways of extracting as much of our money as they can. So the idea of having us pay more for prescriptions, well, whose pocket does that go into?
Right? It goes into big pharma.
That goes into big pharma, and it goes into the billionaires' pockets, right? I mean, everything is about just funneling money to billionaires in this country in an effort to dismantle the middle class, right? And have us just all be poor. We should all be poor and thankful for our jobs, right? I think for anybody who hasn't heard this podcast before, if you're new tuning in, I've been promoting. There's a Broadway show out called Hadestown. It actually is in theaters now. Okay,
oh really?
So you could actually see it in theaters. I saw it in the theater in AMC right down the road in town of Waukegan, just this past weekend. And there's a song in there about why do we build what do we have that
why do we build the wall? Yes.
Why do we build the wall, right? Like
why do we build the wall?
It's to keep out the poor, right? Well, what do we have that the poor don't have? We have jobs, right? Like, I mean, like this is what we're getting into.
Yeah.
You're getting into this dystopian world of gated communities and just working poor. That's it. We're all just a part of the working poor.
Yeah. Yes. I did not see the Broadway show, but apparently Kristen did. Kristen said she saw it. So you saw it on Broadway, Kristen? I'm just I can't respond from within the chat here, but I can do it on my phone here. And I see that she's saying that was so good on Broadway. So yes, and I know the song. I've heard the song.
What's in theaters is the Broadway rendition. So they filmed the Broadway show and they put it on the big screen for you to see in the theater. So and they didn't actually. It was actually a wonderful production, right? And I highly recommend everybody going to see it. I think it has a lot of relevance to what's going on today, as people have heard me talk about it many times. Right. They want you to be grateful that you have a job. More and more people are getting laid off. The economic news is not good. We're losing, lots of jobs every month. right? This is now, I think, the first time since the 2008 crash that we've had multiple quarters in a row where the United States was losing money. In fact, are losing jobs. And in fact, we've been losing jobs going all the way back to last year. So this
Yes.
golden age that Trump talks about, it's a golden age for them. They're
For
they're
them.
literally extracting all the wealth, right? Like, they're making all the money. They are gold plating everything, right? I mean, like, you can't have a bigger let them eat cake moment than the fact that they're building monuments to themselves and saying fuck the poor, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can't make this shit up. Like, these people, like, these people are evil. Like, they're sitting there like twirling their mustaches. Like, I mean, come on, people. Like, wake the fuck up. Like, we all grew up with these cartoons. These are the people. Like,
these are the people. Literally like comic book villains running this country right now.
They really are. They really are. I mean, like you can't make this stuff up. Like, apparently, like, Wyckoff and Kushner went over to Saudi Arabia, and they were just trying to self-deal. Like, it was like, listen, we don't care about the war, just give us money. Like, American soldiers are dying, and all they gave a shit about was that they get money, right? And then Iran comes out and says, well, we want half of the money that you made manipulating the stock market in order for us to even start negotiations. Like, come on already. Like,
yeah,
you can't look at how much owning the libs can you fucking people do, right? I mean, I don't get it.
Owning the libs is just another slogan. At this point, they're owning the middle class in its entirety. Just basically, that's just another slogan to keep the sheep following them as they suck out the rest of their wealth without them even saying it. And just to let you know, like if you followed our show, yes, The Gilded Age on BBC. Yeah, we're pretty much there. If you've been following us, go back to episodes back before the new year, where we talked about these billionaires are extracting as much wealth as possible and leaving the debt to us, right? And just to give you an update, and this is from this morning. It's gone up quite a bit. This is what we're gonna keep doing this and showing you so you can track with us just how much it's gone up. Here it is right now. I'm going to share the national debt right here. There it is. 39 trillion, 714 billion. We are less than $300 billion away from breaking $40 trillion. Okay. When Trump entered office on January 20th, 2025, the debt was 36.1 trillion. So we are about to, at the rate this is going, because this morning it was like 39,693 when I checked this morning. So it's already jumped about 25 billion since this morning. So we are going to be up probably $4 trillion from where we were a year and a half ago, before the end of August. So yeah,
and just remember, right? So you can stop. Yeah, just so everybody remembers, right? The billionaires in this country are not paying one dime of that. Okay, they have already stated unequivocally, in no uncertain terms, they aren't paying one dime of it. Okay, you are not allowed to raise their taxes. They have come out and said that. Don't raise our taxes. If you even come for our money, right, you're a communist.
Okay? Oh yes, their new slogan.
Communist, right? If you come for our money, okay. Meanwhile, taking our money and giving it to them, right? That's not communism or socialism at all, right?
No, that's thievery.
That's just capitalism. Capitalism.
That's
right?
capitalism.
Like, as if these words mean anything to any American now, right? Like, I mean, I think we've sort of gone beyond, right, this idea. Like, nobody even knows what these fucking terms mean anymore. So I
And
think we
you
just
know
need
what?
to stop.
I think a lot of people aren't buying it that much anymore. I mean, here, look, this is how they're going to roll into the midterms. This is going to be their theme. This is because they don't have any policies to run on, right? The Republicans have nothing. They've got nothing to run on. So all they can do is run on fear and lies and propaganda. So they're, and they're starting to lose that too. People see what's happening to their bank accounts. And so that's not really working. So they have to call up the 1950s and bring up a brand new Red Scare. So the DSA are the new communists. Like, they're not promote. So it's terrible. It's terrible to want Medicare for all. It's terrible to want affordable housing. It's terrible to want assistance with childcare so you can get to a fucking job. It's terrible to want a living wage. You know what? If that's communism, I'm happy to embrace it. It isn't, but if that's their theme song, that's what they're going to say is communism. Seriously, that's not a bad thing.
So it recently came at, the president of the DSA gave an interview on Fox News. Now, remember, right? Like, Fox News has all these fucking lobbyists on, and they get to spew whatever fucking crazy shit that they want to spew. They have the president of the DSA, right? And all they allow her to do is give one-word answers. And those one-word answers are either true or false. Okay, right? And then they spread it around as being propaganda. Look how radical DSA is, right? As if somehow, like, the shit that's happening now isn't radical. We're at war with Iran. Like, the entire Middle East is going up in a tinderbox, okay? But somehow,
on purpose.
But somehow, right, wanting to revamp the Senate and get rid of the filibuster, right, and remove the filibuster and make our senators more accountable to the public, okay, is a radical notion, right? Like, that's a radical notion, okay? Right? We have ICE running around shooting people, killing people, and
in the street,
and incarcerating Americans without due process, okay? And somehow DSA is radical because they want to ensure that people have health care in this country, okay? Right?
what?
Like, let's do the actual real comparison here of what, right? So now you have Trump tearing down our national monuments in DC. That's not radical at all, right? He tore down half the White House. That isn't radical, right? But somehow, right, it's radical to want to expand the Supreme Court and create term limits, right? So that and to put on some type of ethical requirement, right, to get rid of the corruption out of the Supreme Court. Okay? That's a radical idea. Okay? Right? Raising the minimum wage.
Oh my God.
Right, is a radical idea in this country. Okay? In New York, we've been dealing with a $15 minimum wage. New York is still doing good. We're rolling.
Fine.
More and more businesses are coming to New York. More and more people are moving. You hear about the net leaving, but older people are leaving. Younger people are moving in. Okay, let's just remember that. Business is doing well. New York is still doing well in terms of revenues and businesses and all that kind of stuff. And yet somehow we were being told that the $15 minimum wage is a horrible idea. Just a horrible fucking idea. Okay? Right? They want to gut and eliminate Social Security and Medicare, which we've been paying into our entire life.
Our money.
Right? It's our money. They want to get rid of it. That's not radical, though. Okay, let's remember that's not a radical idea. But creating a graduated progressive income tax that taxes the wealthy more. Okay,
Taxes their wealth.
That's a radical idea. That's a radical idea. Okay, so when people are starting to make comparisons of what's radical and what's not radical, open your fucking eyes and look around you, right? Just fucking look, spend a minute and look around, right? Because the world we're living in today is not the world we lived in 50 years ago. And if you really think, right, that DSA is going to change, that the 5 people running on a DSA platform, right, are going to go in and radically make changes, right, that's going to impact you, bullshit. Right? Mamdani's doing a great job. The number 1 Google search, right, over the last month and a half was moving to New York City. Number 1, moving to New York City.
Yeah. It's interesting because, every now and then I'll go and look on, you can look up the number of homes that are for sale. Everybody, Florida loves to like boast about it. Everybody's gone to Florida. Florida's the place to go. Yeah, they've got 300,000 houses for sale in Florida. People are leaving Florida like crazy. And New York only has about 50 to 52,000 houses for sale right now. People are coming back to New York, believe it or not. People, yeah, they're not happy in these red states. They want to come back, and the fact is that they're coming back to New York City. I saw, I think it was yesterday, Mamdani had a speech about his grocery stores.
Yep.
Affordable grocery stores, and just for that, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's it! There it is, another communism thing." Have any of you fucking heard of a commissary? We do exactly the same thing on every military base. But we throw a flag on it. And so, same idea, 25 to 30% discounts in commissaries for groceries for people on military bases.
And he cut regulation. He got rid of the idea that restaurants need an ice cream permit, right? Which was absolutely ridiculous just to serve ice cream in a restaurant. They're basically need an extra permit, right, for something that they're already permitted to do. There's an insanity, okay, to what people think, because Mamdani's actually working for the people. He actually is talking about real policy changes. He's not just talking in the abstract. You get these politicians talking about affordability. Ask them, what do they mean by that? What specific policies are they going to implement that's going to address affordability? Because I'm telling you right now, I heard, and I read Gillibrand's thing that she did over, a few weeks ago, okay? And none of that is actually going to fucking help affordability. Absolutely
what did she say?
None of it.
I didn't hear this.
Said, she came out with 3 things. Like, she came out with ending the war in Iran, right? She I think one of the other ones was it was ending of food stamps, increasing food stamps, and what was the third one? There was a third one too that she said. It was like a 3-point plan that had absolutely, like, wouldn't impact affordability at all. Like, would have nothing to do with it. It was just like 3 of the most like BS things. And not to say that
I think food helping food stamps would be helpful to a lot of people.
It would help a lot of people, but it wouldn't help the general affordability. What would help everybody,
right. It would change prices.
Be to help bring down food prices, right? I mean, saying that you're going to give somebody on food stamps more money, right, because prices went up, right? Okay, that's great. That helps the person on food stamps, which is needed, but it doesn't. I mean, like, everybody needs help now. This isn't like we are all in the same boat. I keep saying this. We are all now in the same boat. It doesn't matter how much you make. Okay, just as like El Sayed said this himself, the candidate for Senate in Michigan, he said it
Yes.
himself. It doesn't matter, right? Like he makes $650,000, and he says I'm closer to the guy making $30,000 than the billionaire, because you know what the difference between the billionaire and a guy who makes $650,000 is? A fucking $1 billion.
It's not even that, you know.
like I mean, it's crazy to think about, you know.
So you know what? I'm going to get to some of these chats here. I can't, by the way, normally I can see them on the screen, but I can't. So I got to go to my phone. Marty NY1692 said, getting rid of the filibuster is the only way for Fat Boy to pass his rigged elections. Yeah, good point. Yes. Eric Vasquez said,
hold on.
Jill.
Can I, since
Yes,
we want to discuss these things, I want to address that. Believe it or not, the DSA is in favor of getting rid of the filibuster. They believe that senators should be held accountable for their actions. If the senators, you know, if they choose to pass the SAFE Act, then all right, then that's it. Then we get to hold the senators. We know what the votes are, and we know who did it. We clearly know that even if we got rid of the filibuster in the Senate, that the SAVE Act wouldn't pass. We absolutely know that, because there aren't enough Republicans to pass it at this point in time, right?
Well, what about
rally their Republicans to pass it? So we know that isn't going to pass. But the biggest excuse that we've seen for not passing progressive legislation, right, has been the filibuster in the Senate. Okay, because Democrats refuse to push, right, progressive legislation and force Republicans to vote on that, right? So there are always Democrats that defect a cloture motion to ensure that it fails and it never gets to a floor vote. Okay, so, right, I mean, if you want progressive things, then the next step is getting rid of the filibuster. This is the equivalent of the 17th Amendment, right? That made senators elected versus appointed. Okay?
Appointed, yeah.
Listen, the establishment did not want that. I mean, you think about it. Do you think the establishment wants average people electing senators? No, they actually are trying to pass legislation to go backwards, right? Like
yes,
get rid of the 17th Amendment. This week there was legislation proposed to get rid of the 17th Amendment, right?
Yeah, to put more power into the hands of the executive.
Right. So they want to get rid of the elections altogether of these things. So what we need to do is we need to understand that in order for us to get more power, right, we need to break down and get rid of the institutions, right, that oppress us. Okay? And it doesn't matter. And the Senate is now an obstacle toward that. And that means getting rid of the filibuster.
Yeah. And you know what? And I am, if we were going to go and do some changes here, we need to take the appointment of judges out of the hands of the executive, because in truth, when you, just like there are reasons for getting rid of appointments on Senate, right? We have a legislative branch, and we have a judiciary, and we have the executive branch. When the executive can appoint people in each of those other two branches of government, you no longer really.
Senators.
No,
President
I know.
Senators never
but
did. Never did.
Oh no, who appointed them?
President
I thought
never did. No, the state legislatures did.
Or the okay, state legislatures.
The state. Remember, it was state.
That's right. That's right.
So senators were appointed by either the governor or the state legislature, depending on how that was done. And then the 17th Amendment came in, and they said that they're going to be elected, right,
by the people.
And took it out, and took it out because there was too much corruption, right? Like Chicago was selling the Senate seats, as they did fairly as Blagojevich did, right, to fill that Senate seat in Chicago, right? I mean, that shit was like actually pretty normal back then.
Right, but that's my point with SCOTUS seats, right? These are appointed. That these should be. I mean, here in the state of New York, we elect our judges, not federal judges, but state judges, state Supreme Court justices, right here in Orange County. They go on the ballot. What we're not intelligent enough. We can't elect a judge, right? There's no reason why we shouldn't be electing federal judges as well, because we see what's happening, like what happened in Texas with the protesters. They got a protester was sentenced to like 20, 30, even 50 years for handing out pamphlets at a protest, and just happening to be there when someone who wasn't even connected to them actually shot an ICE officer in the arm. Thankfully, it wasn't a serious, it wasn't a serious or permanent injury, but still, you had other people get longer sentences than actual murderers. So it was an absolute political ruling, and it's because I'm pretty sure, I don't know for 100% certain, I'm pretty sure that the judge in that case, and probably some of the jurors were all Trumpers. They were Trumpers.
There were no minorities were seated on that jury. They wouldn't even allow a minority to be seated on the jury. It was an all white jury. If you can believe that, it was an all white jury.
Yeah, I can believe that. Yes, I can believe that.
I mean, you want to talk? It goes back. It harkens back to the days of the South, where it was like they had a standard jury, like a standard jury of like elders, right? The elders who like came in and they just ruled like no matter what, it didn't matter. Like you were just guilty and that was it.
That was it. Yeah.
If you were a minority. Yeah. I do want to address something that Marty said. So Marty said, but you need to remember why the 17th Amendment came about. There was so much corruption on both Republican and Democrats thought it was necessary. Marty, so I just want to take you back a little bit, right? Because that is true. There was a lot of corruption. But what was happening during that period of time of that corruption? There was actually a rise in a socialist movement back then, right? And
yes,
because of the fact that they were really scared that communism, right, was taking a foothold in the United States, right, led by a newspaper reporter, believe it or not, in Madison, Wisconsin, that they were really scared that the communists would take over the government. I mean, at that point in time, more and more socialists were being elected into Congress, and what did they end up doing, right? Like this was the push. The push was either you do this, right, or we're coming after your jobs, and even more. So, it was like one of those things. It was like either they had to give up X or give up Y, and they came together and they said, okay, we'll be elected. They wanted to revitalize and actually eliminate the entire Senate altogether. That was like, right, the choice was getting rid of the Senate altogether, right?
I remember hearing that. Yes,
as a branch, right, or having them be elected. That's how bad the corruption got. Okay, so rather than risk more socialists getting elected, rather than risking them losing their power, they were like, okay, we'll relent and we'll give you this. Okay, and that's what they did. But they kept the filibuster in order to keep that oppression there, right? In order to keep the idea of progress, in order to keep power in the elite's hands. Okay,
right.
To maintain that type of corruption. So, like, this is, again, every what, 100 years or so, 80 years, whatever they say,
30 years, whatever
it is, right? Radical change comes, and it comes via the people, usually on the left, who pushes back against the corruption, against the billionaire class, and moves us back to the center, right?
Yes.
Gets rid of an obstacle that prevents progress. Okay.
Yes.
And right now, the one of the main things that's preventing progress is the filibuster. Okay, you eliminate the filibuster, right? Yeah, you're going to get some bad legislation out of that, but we're already getting bad legislation. So, how about we shoot for some good legislation for a change?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
at some point in time, you gotta take these chances, because you're gonna die either way. And we might as well die fighting for freedom at this point in
Yes.
time.
Well, it's interesting because I saw a very good interview yesterday, and I'm just trying to get their name. She's running in the state of her name is Kashama Sawant, and I believe she's running in Wisconsin. And she is a socialist, not a democratic socialist, an actual socialist. She's full on socialist. And it was on Breaking Points yesterday. So I recommend following Breaking Points. And Crystal Ball interviewed her. She had previously interviewed Adam Smith day or two before, who is running against her. They're both running for in the Democratic primary. And she talked about the rise of socialism in the past, and how that how it grew through a lot of grassroots efforts and a lot of pushback and a lot of fighting. And so she also brought up the filibuster. She's also in support of getting rid of the filibuster. But I recommend watching that, and also watch the interview of Adam Smith, who is who is an establishment politician. I think he's running on his third or fourth term in Congress. And so they're against each other in a primary that's coming up very soon. And just listen to the diverse, the different positions, where she's all for workers' rights, and she pointed to how workers had to fight against the oligarchs back in the 1800s to get better wages and to get better jobs, because they were limiting taking jobs away and all these types of things. So this is what we're hearing now, and all this communist stuff and all this propaganda that we're hearing is not new. It's not even 1950s new. It's just what Neil pointed out, going all the way back into the 1800s. It's an old thing that the wealthy push forward, and the people in power bring up as a way to scare you, because the idea of progressive ideas threaten their power, because it puts the power back in our hands.
What you were being told, right, is that the people who are running on a democratic socialist platform are radical. Okay? And here's what I'm going to tell you. Look around you. Like, seriously, open your fucking eyes, right? Like the radical shit is happening all around you
Right
now.
now.
Okay? Right? The democratic socialists aren't talking like it's all a scare tactic, right? And it's all about power that has nothing to do with you. You look at democratic socialists, what are they talking about? They're talking about you, right? The other side isn't
That's
talking
it.
about you. Okay, they're talking about themselves and their power, right? Democratic socialists are saying, listen, I want to help you. I want to help you keep your job. I want to help you buy a house. I want to help you have health care, so that way if you get sick, you don't have to worry. There was a guy who climbed the tallest mountain in Montana, okay? And he impaled himself at the top of the mountain with his walking stick. Okay?
Jesus.
Right? Impaled himself. Okay? He was an experienced hiker, right? But because he didn't want to pay the bill for an airlift out of there, right? He took 6 hours of being impaled and walked down the mountain, right, to get help, and then drove himself to the emergency room. Like this is right. Nothing spells healthcare in the United States right now than a guy impaling himself on top of a mountain and walking down and spending 6 hours with being impaled because he doesn't want to pay a healthcare bill. Right? What the fuck? Right? We keep talking about oh, right, they want to like turn around and say that oh yeah, these people are communists and want people to die. Right? Over 50,000 people die every year from not having health care. That's it, just not having health care, right? Over 50,000 Americans die every year, right? Millions more don't have health care at all and aren't getting treated for treatable diseases, treatable whatever, right? Because they can't have health care. Who is more radical?
Right? I mean,
we're paying like almost $1 trillion on defense of this country. Defense of who? Defense of what? Americans are dying here, and now they're being killed in the street by a government
by the government
agency, by the government. All right, what are we like? Freedom, like explain to me, freedom to be tracked by a flock camera? I mean, like you people really, really, really like are hysterical, right? Like I love the idea, right? I'm an American. I love America. I want America to be free, right? I'm not sitting here ranting and raving because I don't love America. I'm sitting here ranting and raving because I do. Okay, because I grew up with an idea. Okay, Denise grew up with an idea. We're here because of that idea, right? And I don't want to die, right, thinking that it was all a lie. Okay? We had soldiers die in this country. We have soldiers still dying in this country. How about we get rid of the flock cameras? How about we start treating Americans with respect, right? And how about we start giving everybody on this in this country, right, their inalienable rights, and that is the right to due process of the law. Period.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
hey.
So if I can just add one thing because it's really weighing on me. I'm wearing a t-shirt tonight that says abolish ICE. Okay. The reason I'm wearing this t-shirt tonight, all right, is because of a story I heard today. A story which is going to live with me for a long time because it is the most horrific story, right, that I've heard to date. And granted, I mean, this is an administration that has rape camps, right, where they take little girls and they rape them, right, until they're pregnant and then force them to give birth, right? Like even more horrific than that. And if you think that I'm lying about that, just check out the facility in Texas. Google it. You will see all the fucking shit coming out of there, right? But this story is a story of a Guatemalan immigrant, right? Nixon Giovanni Perez Paz. Okay. He was picked up and deported by ICE, right? Back to Guatemala. He was here on an asylum and he was granted his asylum to be in this country. So he was in this country legally. And what happened was the administration revoked his legal status. Okay. So for those people, you want them to follow the law. He was following the fucking law.
Yep.
Okay. So fuck you. Right. I don't want to hear it. Okay. He got deported back to Guatemala. Okay. They were waiting for their daughter to be born. All right. Less than a year later, his wife self-deported. She was also an immigrant. Self-deported to Guatemala with their 14-month-old child. Okay. They recently found, all right, both of them dead on the side of a road. All right, gunshot wounds. Right, with the 14-month-old girl crying over the mother's body.
Both of her parents.
Both of her parents shot dead. All right. Now,
which is the reason why they got asylum in the United States.
So anybody thinking that this administration isn't monsters, right? And haven't read the Epstein files and haven't like whatever, right? Seriously, wake the fuck up. These people are monsters. Every single one of them. Okay? And here's the thing that pisses me off the most, right? They made $1 million off of that fucking thing. $1 million for those two people to be fucking dead, right? And their kid to be crying on top of their bodies. And those fucking billionaires made $1 million off of that shit. Flying them around, right? And deporting them with all their private contracts and all that other crap, right? $1 million, okay? Of all money.
Yeah. We paid for that. That's what our tax dollars pay for now.
So I'm sick and tired of, these people talking about legal or the law or taking some moral Christian high ground. You got nothing. You got nothing anymore.
No,
right?
I'm going to say
his name. Say his name. All right? Nixon Giovanni Perez Paz. Say his name over and over again.
Nixon Giovanni Perez Paz. Yeah. It's never been about getting criminal immigrants. It's always been about criminalizing immigration as a whole. And then moving on from there, obviously. So, yeah.
I understand you have a nice story as well.
No, I don't think I had an nice story.
I thought you had something, a story that you were going to.
No, I just made a note about it. Yeah, we try to make notes of what we're going to talk about each day.
I thought you had. No,
that wasn't ICE. That wasn't ICE. So I was talking about what was happening in Ecuador.
That's right. Yeah. Well, very similar. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, because as you know, we've been for months now, almost a year now, we've been bombing fishing boats in the Caribbean, and a lot of them were Ecuadorian, and there have been survivors. And there was an investigator, prosecutor in Ecuador. I believe her name was Alexandria Bravo, and she was investigating. She had interviewed there's I think 36 Ecuadorian survivors who survived these attacks by us, and she was, I guess, planning to take legal action against the U.S. government on behalf of these people. And she was assassinated in the street recently, I think last week, and yes. I find it interesting because, I was just watching this on Secular Talk. You can follow Kyle Kalinski's Secular Talk. He identified the president of Ecuador, and I did not know this. The president of Ecuador is a billionaire from Miami. He's an American, and he was elected in 2023. He's a Trump supporter, and he was reelected, I guess, in 2025. So, kind of makes you wonder. Here you have an investigator who was looking to get justice for 36 people who were bombed by Americans, and gets gunned down in the street, and the president is kind of like, oh, what happens? Yeah, I think they said she was shot. I think it was like nine shots, nine bullet casings were found. So, and that's where we are.
And this week, right? So those two stories, if those two stories weren't enough for you, right? Andrew Tate, the Tate brothers, were arrested on sex trafficking charges, right? Who let those two in the country after they were indicted in another country for sex trafficking? Oh, that was the Trump administration, right? Because we don't want sexual predators in the United States. But here he let them back in. He's pardoning them. He's doing whatever. He doesn't fucking give a shit, right? So these two get arrested. And what do we find out? They're doing crypto with Barron, right?
Yes.
So what are we learning about this whole thing, right? The Tate brothers, right, were part of the whole Epstein thing. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So the Epstein thing never ended just because he's dead. It's still going on. And guess what's funding that shit now? Okay? Crypto. Because when you're using crypto, it can't be traced by
Can't be
authorities.
traced.
Okay? And who the hell is pushing crypto? Oh, our congressmen are pushing crypto. In
The president of the
particular,
United
our New York
States.
congressperson, right? Who's pushing it? Oh, Kirsten Gillibrand, who's on the finance committee, who's pushing crypto. Right.
Oh,
So
senator. She's a senator.
Senator, right. So here we are pushing crypto, right? Which is being used for sex trafficking, okay? Right? Because that's what the billionaires want. Because it makes it easier for them to buy and sell little girls and have that money not be traced.
Among other crimes as well. That's the corruption in this country is out of control.
It's not only out of control. It just amazes me that people are okay with this level of corruption as long as this administration continues to be racist as possible. Right? That's what's so fucking mind-boggling. And it's especially even more mind-boggling, right, when you have a whole party devoted toward it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? And it makes me wonder, local politicians who are running under that same banner, what like, do they support this? Is this like, because now we're sort of getting into it, right? Like, just like here in the town of Waco, we have a lot of warehouses, right? They're putting people in warehouses. How long before, right, one of these ICE comes to town of Waco and says, well, you guys are on the crossroads of 84 and 17, you know? Who's going to be better situated, right, to try to put a stop to that? Who's going to be stronger? Who's going to be the party that's going to fight against that?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Folks, any comments from anyone on this? What do you think? Because we have that big warehouse over on Silver Lake, Scotchtown, and Mudbills Road, and there's a second one going on that property, and the first one isn't rented. So who's to say the second one will be? Like, why do we have this? Let's see, Marty. They'll give. Let me see. Maybe you could read this. They'll give you
Mouth service.
Of course, the big.
And neither one will do a damn thing.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say. You had a Republican supervisor that did nothing, that had a master plan, right, and did nothing about data centers and AI warehouses and all that kind of stuff. And now what do we have, right? We have a public hearing that was just held this past week to ban data centers in the town of Waco. So, and this goes against, right, everything that the administration wants, because the administration is about ready to say that if you're against data centers, that you're a terrorist, right? So
I think they actually did say that.
Right.
Or was that flock hammers? Might have been flock hammers.
I think it was both.
Same difference.
They said
both. At this point, it's both.
Right. So
the idea of
you say you might get lip service on both. I don't know if that's the case. I really just don't. But again, how we would know that, and we would have an answer to that question.
Elect him.
Debate.
Hey, yes, back to debates. We still want debates. Yes. I mean, hey, if El Sayed can get a debate out in Michigan, we can have one here locally in our town for supervisor. So we're calling
Yeah.
for debates. We want
I think
debates the council people, debates the supervisor, all the way up.
I think there are just too many issues that are going on right now, especially at the local level, especially as it relates to taxes, property taxes, taxes in general, affordability, housing, growth, warehousing, right? What those warehouses could be used for, data centers, AI, like all these things, where do our local politicians stand on these issues, right? Because at the end of the day, what do I keep saying? They may seem like national issues, they may even seem like state issues, okay? But when it comes to building and erecting a facility, it is happening in your local community.
Right.
Okay.
And I think it's important to note that if you want to push back, this is where the pushback happens. It happens through creating zoning laws that protect the community from having these types of things come in. We need legislation to protect us from flock cameras. I mean, what the hell do we need all these fucking flock cameras for? They're everywhere now. And that's just part of the surveillance, right? What happened to right to privacy? Surveillance in your car. That we talked about that with the freaking 2026 cars and ups that now are going to need to look at your eyes, or 2027 cars that need to look at your eyes. And they can shut them. They can shut your car off. That comes from surveillance. And then data centers, AI, all these things being put in place to monitor us. And sure, we can protest the federal government and everything, but where that comes from is it happens in your backyard. And so you need to know what your local government is doing and where they're aligned and what they support. Because if they don't have your back, then they've probably got some billionaires back. And you don't want that, because then that surveillance comes rolling right in.
And
All right.
here's something else. One last thought on this, right? So these data centers, believe it or not, they're picking small communities, right, on purpose, because they know that they're not going to get significant pushback in a small community, right, from their populace. There's a data center, and I can't remember the exact township that it's going into, but there was a data center going up. Right. I'll try to, if I find it again, I'll send it to Denise to post on our YouTube channel. Um, Basically, everybody in town showed up. The entire town hall was filled with people. Okay.
Nice.
And and as each person got up, if you clapped in the audience, the board arrested you. The board had you arrested.
What?
Yes. So this one person spoke, right? This happened. This one person spoke. A physics teacher was in the audience and started clapping. Okay. And the board said, please remove that person. Right. And the person said, all I did was clap, and there was time between the next person. Right. And the police came over and physically removed the person, put the person in handcuffs, and literally carried him out. While his wife went up to the podium, right, to speak, and she's crying because her husband is being dragged away by the police. Right? You have a right to know what type of elected official you are electing, not just from them being your neighbor and being a nice person, not from, right,
Yeah.
like meetups and in a safe environment, right? You have a right to know what they're like when they're being asked a question that doesn't necessarily make them the most comfortable. Okay. Which a
Right.
lot of these questions that we would be looking for answers to is outside their comfort zone, right? They don't want to deal with that issue. They don't even want to talk about it if they don't have to.
Yeah, but this kind of response where you're dragging people out for, applauding even, um, kinda makes you wonder, uh, why they're exercising that's a power that first of all, never mind the First Amendment here, we could talk about that, but what kind of power are they exercising by silencing people? "Oh, you can't cheer, you" obviously, these are people who were speaking out against the data centers, so they wanted everybody to shut up about it because, who's to say that the billionaires behind that data center aren't paying off the board? We know that kind of corruption takes place.
Listen, I've been at board meetings. I've been at board meetings where you have like tons of people show up. And like I totally get it. You want to be respectful of everybody who showed up. You want to give everybody the opportunity to speak, but you also don't want to be there till like 3 in the morning. Right. Like, I mean, I don't think any of us want to be there till 3 in the morning. Okay. We
I
sort of
don't think
went through
that's what was going on there, though. Uh,
listen, I'm not going to say that I know what's going on. I think that was a bit rough because you could have easily done when we had asset forfeiture here, right? Believe it or not, I'm going to take us back to 2015 when Hoover tried to pass a bad asset forfeiture law. He held a public hearing, okay? Right? It was in a small conference room, like no bigger than my office here, right? Like it was a small conference room, right? We packed it wall to wall people. Okay. We were there for 2 hours, right? Steve was like, okay, how many more people got to talk? And it was still like more than half the room. So
wow.
he was like, you know what? We're gonna postpone this, and we're gonna run this over to the 911 center so more people can show up, and we're gonna do it in the evening when more people can speak. And he did that. Right? Listen, it was unpopular. Everybody there was there to speak out against it. He was for it. He would have signed it, I think, if not, if nobody came out, right? But what happened? Word got out, 911 center, all of a sudden there are like 300 people in that room,
Nice.
all arguing against it, you know? And we were there for a few hours. And I could tell you at the end of it, Steve was like, yeah, I can't vote yes to this. Like, this is insane, you know? Um, but this is what happens. This is what democracy is about. If there were that many people that showed up, extend the public hearing, say we're going to cut this off. If you want to speak again, you can come back, and if you want to speak, you can come back. We'll let you speak the next time, or you can issue a written comment, right? And we'll just keep doing it until we've heard everybody. You know.
Right. Right. But this is, it's just sends the point home of the importance of being engaged in your local community. I know folks on this channel that are watching this right now are engaged, particularly if you're followers of
Lion.
us. Oh, go
So it
ahead.
was Lyon County, Kansas. Lyon
Oh,
County,
that's
Kansas. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Knitter02.
oh for
Appreciate that.
I missed a whole bunch. I didn't even know there were more messages there. What anything else without debate?
But
Da,
I
da,
think
da.
Knitter02 has the direct point. Without debate, you don't know where these candidates stand on any of these issues. And my my question out there for the public is, if you don't know where they stand on these issues, right? How, how can you support or vote any of them? Okay, these issues now are just have become way too important. Okay, this is more than
Yeah,
just your
I
property
agree.
taxes. Okay, this is your neighbors. These are people's lives. This could be a 15-month-old girl or a 14-month-old girl. You know,
Yeah.
these issues are just too important going into these next few years. And I'm not trying to bring this back to an election, right? I'm bringing this back to your personal economy, right? Everything is going up, you
Oh
know?
yeah.
Everything people are struggling more and more. Your neighbors are getting picked up off the street and disappeared, okay? This isn't me trying to push a scare tactic. I'm just trying to make sure we all band together. We all are in this together. Okay. Which means we all have to work together. And by working together, that means holding every single person accountable, right? If you're running for office, step in front of a mic and let us know where you stand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more important now than probably ever before with everything that's going on just across the country. All right. Any final thoughts, Neil, or anybody here that's with us today?
Any final thoughts for you?
I think we've covered the most important part. Obviously, we want debates, and we've gone over the reasons why. I'd love to hear from the candidates. I believe Frank has already said that he's all in for debate. Would like to hear from the Jill Wilkins camp as to whether or not they want to go ahead with a debate. Whether you have it here, or whether we do something different, or you have other people do it. Do you support the idea of debating your opponent for supervisor? That's what we want to know. All right. And we're going to wind up here. This is
I would like to point out that our town clerk, Luisa Ingracia, has endorsed, right, our call for debates.
Yes.
So thank you very much, town clerk. We appreciate
debates should be required. Thank you, Luisa.
We appreciate the support. Yes.
Lisa, when are you coming on here? We need you on here. We need you. We want to. Luisa wants to join us. We've got to have her on the show. And yes, Eric agrees too. So we are all. The public wants debates. So Frank, Jill, let's do it.
Listen, I think it's great that Frank is holding town halls. I mean, listen, he puts himself out there to be asked questions in a town hall environment for other people to hear him. He has no problem being recorded in those environments, right? He's showing himself to be an open book, so I think we just need to, I think a debate would be good. I think it would be good for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and at the very least, he does his monthly teas. That's the Spill the Tea events. I'm just trying to see.
Oh, that's right. He has one next week too. Right. And he has one next week.
I think it's next Tuesday, Thursday or Tuesday.
I think it's Thursday, the 6th.
Oh, you know what? I can tell you right now. Let me go into that group. Just give me a second here. Down of Wallkill. There it is. See if they got a, sometimes they put flyers up. They did not put one up. Luisa, would you have? Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah, they did.
Okay. I don't see it. Wait a minute. Hang on. Maybe I'm sorry. I'm not in the right place.
You're on the wrong page.
There we go. That's the HBCU. There it is. Spill the tea. Let me go in here. Whoa. August 3rd. It is Thursday, August 6th from 6 to 7 p.m. Yeah. So,
and just as a quick announcement, because it's always a good event, I do want to mention that on Tuesday night is the 24th annual National Night Out. It's a great time to go out and basically interact with your local police force, as well as get there'll be a lot of vendors there that can give you information regarding services that are in the area. And I always found that to be very useful and important. And there's also food, hot dogs and hamburgers and other types of food that's there, popcorn for the kids. And they have games and, various other things and music and dancing and helicopters and, you name it. It's a lot of fun. So,
there's a flyer.
If you have a chance to come out and check it out, please do. Always love to have you there.
There you go. That's the reason, because that's next Tuesday, August 4th, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Town of Wallkill Little League Park. So I just posted that. You can screenshot that for yourselves And with that, let me just stop sharing. There we go. So once again, I want to thank you guys for joining us. As always, we really enjoy doing these live streams. They're a lot of fun, and it gives us a chance to really communicate with you directly and answer questions and just listen to your comments. So as always, if you're not already, please be sure to like and share and subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to the Daily Gripe. I have some content that I'm going to be posting in the next day or so to get that up there and to keep that moving. And in the meantime, we will see you soon, and just be safe. We love you guys, and we appreciate you. Take care, guys.
Peace out.